Good day, esteemed listeners, and welcome to another exciting edition of our radio broadcast brought to you by Hammergate Radio Communications. As we step into the final quarter of the year 2024, we want to take out a moment to thank you for joining with us throughout this year. It's been an incredible and an amazing ride, and we're truly grateful for your unwavering support, your thoughtful feedback, your questions, and your insightful contributions during our last quarter series on entrepreneurship and Nigerian youth. Your enthusiasm and engagement have not only enriched our discussions, but have also inspired us to, continue to create content that empowers and uplifts young entrepreneurs. It's because of listeners like you that we strive to bring you fresh, relevant, and impactful topics every quarter. Now, as we embrace the final months of the year, we're thrilled to introduce our new series for this quarter, Entrepreneurship and the African Youth. I know the last episode was Entrepreneurship and the Nigerian Youth, but in this new series, we'll be expanding our forces beyond Nigeria to explore the vast entrepreneurial potential of young people across the entire African continent. Just like the previous series, we will delve into the challenges, the opportunities, and the success stories that define the entrepreneurial landscape for African youth today. Throughout the series, we will uncover such topics as understanding fintech and e-commerce entrepreneurship, where we'll be talking about how African youth are taking advantage of digital technology to create innovative businesses in financial services and on online retail. Also another topic that we'll be exploring is the growing trend of women-led ventures, and then we'll be talking about emerging sectors for the African entrepreneurs, which comes in the likes of content creation, online digital marketing, cyber security, data analytics, business analysis. We'll look into new frontiers where African youth are making significant strides and establishing themselves as leaders of tomorrow's economy. So this series is an essential conversation. I did call it a conversation for every young person and aspiring entrepreneur or business owner, because we would expect your feedback, we'll expect your contributions, we'll expect you to ask your questions, and some of the things that may be that you find interesting or some of the things that you find confusing, we would be willing to answer that. So whether you are just starting out or you already launched your business, the insights and knowledge shared throughout this quarter will help you harness the potential that the African continent holds for its youth. So a few things we can promise you if you are part of this discourse. There are things that you would gain are valuable insights into trends shaping the future of entrepreneurship in Africa. You also have the practical knowledge about how to overcome the unique challenges facing young African entrepreneurs today. You'll be inspired by the real-life case studies and stories that we would share of youth-driven businesses making an impact across the African continent, and then you will be able to have opportunities to connect with other like-minded individuals who share your passion for innovation and business growth. So I would like to invite you to stay tuned every Thursday of the week, 5 p.m. West African time and 11 a.m. Eastern time if you are outside, if you are in the US or Canada. So we would like you to also be able to contribute to the conversation and share your experiences and questions with us. Together we can continue to build a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem that not only benefits the youth but also drives Africa's growth and economic development. Thank you once again for being part of the Hammergate Radio family. I look forward to your participation in what promises to be another impactful and empowering series. Stay tuned, stay engaged. Let's continue this journey of entrepreneurship and innovation together. I remain your host and friend, Adeola Gbadebo. Let's have a background to this. We all know how entrepreneurship has become a powerful tool for tackling some of the most pressing socio-economic issues in Africa. These include unemployment and underemployment. With more than 60% of Africans' population under the age of 25, the continent's youth are critical to shaping the economic future. However, of the 12 million young people entering into the labor market annually, only 3 million jobs are created. That leaves a vast majority unemployed or unattended to because the traditional employment channels are failing to meet the demands of this fast growing workforce. Therefore, in response to these challenges, African youths are increasingly turning towards entrepreneurship as a viable path to financial independence and economic development. Youth entrepreneurship is more than just a business trend now. It is a movement powered by creativity and innovation and a deep desire to address the gaps in Africa's economic landscape. The entrepreneurs we have today, the young entrepreneurs today, are leveraging digital economy. They are disrupting traditional industries and launching businesses that meet the evolving needs of their communities. So I say most of them, I just say that most of them are social entrepreneurs. Some of the most notable trends in youth entrepreneurship include the rise of fintech and e-commerce, the surge of women-led ventures, and the expansion into emerging industries like content creation, cybersecurity, data analytics, business analytics, digital marketing, and so on. So these trends are reshaping Africa's entrepreneurial ecosystem, and they have the potential to transform the continent's economy. So what are the key trends in youth entrepreneurship? One, you have the rise of fintech and e-commerce. Africa has a growing access to mobile technology. Young entrepreneurs are capitalizing on fintech and e-commerce opportunities. The proliferation of mobile banking systems has made it easier for entrepreneurs to start businesses without needing the traditional brick and mortar infrastructure. So fintech startups are addressing challenges such as financial inclusion, payments, and lending, while e-commerce platforms are revolutionizing retail by offering online purchasing options to customers. Now, so the success of companies like Nigeria's Flutterwave, Kenya's M-Pesa, South Africa's Yoko highlights how youth-led fintech businesses are addressing key pain points such as digital payments and access to financial services. E-commerce platforms such as Jumia, Konga, and many more have also seen explosive growth driven by youth entrepreneurs who recognize the growing demand for online shopping and delivery services. Another trend is in the women-led entrepreneurial ventures. We have seen the rise in women-led ventures. African women have long been underrepresented in business ownership, and this is now changing as more women embrace entrepreneurship. Now, so across industries like fashion, beauty, agribusiness, and tech, women are increasingly taking leadership roles in startups and SMEs. This shift is driven by a combination of increased access to education, microfinancing, and targeted initiatives that support female entrepreneurship. The African Development Bank has initiated programs like the Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, AFAWA, which seeks to bridge the financing gap for women entrepreneurs. Female entrepreneurs like Funke Okpeke, the founder of Main1, a communication service company in Nigeria, and Tabitha Karanja, founder of Kerochi Breweries in Kenya, these people are paving way for more women to succeed in businesses. I dare say they become an inspirational institution themselves, and they themselves are actually inspiring younger women to take up entrepreneurship as a path to their own growth and in fulfilling their desires. Another trend is the new service and product providers in emerging industries. Digital revolution has opened up new industries, new frontiers that African entrepreneurs, old and young, are beginning to dominate. So content creation, data analytics, and cybersecurity are emerging as high growth sectors driven by increased digital access and the rise to the gig economy. So African youths are using platforms like YouTube, like TikTok, Instagram to create and monetize content, turning creative endeavors into profitable businesses. Meanwhile, the need for data-driven decision-making has spurred demand for data analytics services, with young entrepreneurs developing solutions that help businesses harness the power of big data. Cybersecurity is also becoming an essential service as more African businesses adopt digital platforms with increasing cyber threats. Cyber threats like hacking. I'm sure maybe one or two of us would have had the horrible experience of your WhatsApp being hacked, or someone hacks into a group on WhatsApp. So some of those things are the reasons why there is a need, and the rise for services of cyber security is increasing. So youth-led ventures are stepping up to provide cyber security solutions tailored to African markets. The industries offer young people new avenues for entrepreneurial success, and it underscores versatility of youth entrepreneurship in adapting to emerging needs. What we have done in this series is to take these models, these trends as models for discussion here, and then some of the case studies we will be taking. So I want to quickly do an introduction and quickly dive into the very first model of our discussion, where we're talking about about understanding the fintech and e-commerce entrepreneurship. So let's do an overview of fintech landscape in Africa. So financial technology, or fintech, has revolutionized how people and businesses interact with money. In Africa, where traditional banking systems have struggled to reach the unbanked population, and I, as someone who has also been a partaker, who has played in the financial inclusion market as a stakeholder and a member of the Nigerian financial inclusion stakeholders, I have been part of many fintechs and helping them to reach the unbanked population. So I think I described earlier what it used to be. Banking services used to be. You open a branch, you are in Akure and you open a bank account in Akure. Every time you need to do a banking transaction, you go to that particular branch location in Akure, and you have to go inside the bank to do banking transactions. If someone sent you money, if it's into your savings, how the person is going to send you money? The person is going to go into his own bank, take the cash there, and pay him the cash at the counter, and then they will, before it reflects in your account, or the person pays in a check into your current account, and you have to go there. If you are in Lagos and you received information that someone has paid money to your account, or maybe the person calls you on phone and says that I've paid in that money, you will need to drive from Lagos to Akure to go and take that money. That's how it used to be. And it became a traditional way of doing business. So when fintechs came in, they revolutionized the financial technology system. Now with infrastructure like NIBS, the Nigeria Interbanking NIBS, I think is a switch that allows all banks to be able to interconnect with themselves. Yes, I just remember the name now. So it's Nigerian Interbanking Settlement Systems, and they essentially stand in as the middleman, connecting all the banks one to another. And therefore now apart from connecting all the branches of a particular bank together, they also, which is intra-connectivity, they also ensure interconnectivity of all those banks with other banking networks and all that. And then with the advent of ATM machines that you can take your ATM card to withdraw from and all that, now the trend has changed. And the new landscape has actually now moved on to where you now have mobile apps that you can transfer money from, and people can receive it instantly. So the fintech they are filling a critical gap in that area. The continent's young tech-savvy population, they are now using mobile phones and digital technology to access financial services previously unavailable to them. So you have mobile payments, you have micro lending. We all know about the online loan apps which some call loan sharks. And there are savings where you can use for savings, and there are digital wallets that you can use to perform financial transactions, and not only locally but also internationally. So what are the key drivers of fintech growth in Africa? One is mobile penetration. Now, there are over 600 million mobile phone users in Africa, and that's creating an ideal platform for mobile banking and payments. So that availability and the penetration of mobile communication network is one of the drivers of fintech growth in Africa. Another thing is the need for financial inclusion. Over 60% of adults in sub-Saharan Africa do not have a traditional bank account, presenting an opportunity to fintech to reach the underserved population. So one of the projects which I've been involved with is in creating going into the rural areas and helping people create bank accounts, especially on their phone. Many people got used to the phones, both the educated and the non-educated. They who can at least operate a mobile phone can also now operate a mobile account. They can operate a bank account through their mobile phones. So some of these, some of the projects like Momo, like OPay, like PalmPay. If you go to the Nigerian market now, the average market woman has an OPay account or a PalmPay account. It wasn't like that initially. You go to the market, you say you want to transfer, you hear the code transfer. Because transfer used to fail. It's not as if they are not still failing, but there's a general acceptance now. The acceptance has increased. And that is one of the ways by which they are reaching the underserved population, the unbanked population, under what we call the financial inclusion. So financial inclusion has helped to bring more people into the financial ecosystem. Cost-effective solutions. So if you have to look at what I spoke about, that you have to go to Akure to withdraw your money. However, these days you can withdraw your money anywhere you are. You can imagine how cost-effective that is. If every one of us have to go to the bank, we have to queue, waste time and all that. But on your phone, you can make your financial transactions. So digital platforms reduce the cost associated with traditional banking. So they have made those services more affordable and accessible for the average person. Don't forget that we're treating entrepreneurship and the African youth, and we're talking how the rise of the understanding the fintech and e-commerce entrepreneurship and we're talking about the key drivers, some of the drivers that are responsible for the expansion that we are seeing in this business entrepreneurship landscape. So there's also regulatory support. Now governments across the continent are creating fintech-friendly regulations. Okay, I remember the very first time that I was working with a company, and then we had a business arrangement with eTransact then to market some of their cards that they can use for withdrawals and to perform online transactions, make online payments and all that. I'm talking about 2000 and before 2010. And that's about 15 years ago. And I can tell you about the resistance we met in the market. People were not willing to accept those payments and all that and everything. So, and those who were willing to accept were a bit elitist, who have traveled abroad and understood the use of credit cards and debit cards. They often asked some questions also. And so what we're able to do to drive it is to ensure that those of these things become discounts cards, that if you used this card to shop in certain places, you'll be shopping at a discounted rate. But these days there's government support across the continent and creating fintech friendly regulations to promote innovation. Government itself is now promoting that sector, giving incentives in that sector. There are adverts that show that even the government themselves accept those modes of payments and all that, which now give many people the confidence to use such platforms as payment options. So you have some of those regulations like such as sandbox that allow companies to test new solutions. So what are the major fintech services in Africa. These include mobile payments. So systems like M-Pesa in Kenya allow users to send and receive money, pay for goods, and access banking services using their mobile phones. Mobile money, what we call mobile money in those days. Mobile money. So lending and microfinance. So we have platforms like Branch, like Carbon, which provide microloans and digital credit services to individuals and SMEs. And of course, there are many of them that we can just download. There are a lot of apps, online apps, loan apps that you can download, and in a matter of minutes, you're already receiving cash in your bank account, and all those things are done through with the use of your phone. Now, we also have remittances. Companies like Flutterwaves enable seamless cross-border payments. They are called payment gateways, and remittances for African businesses and individuals. We all know about Remitter. Also, Remitter was a company that in Nigeria helps, which is essentially behind the TSA, that is Treasury Single Account of the federal government of Nigeria, where all the monies belonging to government goes into a single account. So you would often need to go and do a remitter. You go to the bank, they generate remitter code that uses that account. You do it to make payment, maybe some school fees for federal universities, even some state universities. They all use remitter. It's for remittances, to remit some of those monies that are needed. Lastly, I want to talk about the e-commerce revolution. E-commerce is transforming the retail landscape in Africa. We have the rapid growth of internet penetration and mobile connectivity. More consumers are opting for online shopping. African youth entrepreneurs are seizing the opportunities to create innovative and online marketplaces that cater for the unique needs of their communities. Next week, I will continue from here, and we will talk about some of the e-commerce platforms in Africa and their impact and all that. We've spoken about Flutterwave, so we may not talk about Flutterwave again, even though it is one of our it forms one of our case studies also. But we'll be delving into the story of Jumia, how Jumia was birthed, and then we will talk about the challenges and their early challenges and how they've now grown from starting in a particular place in Nigeria, and how they've gone to many countries of Africa, and they've now quoted on the New York Stock Exchange, trading there, and many more of the success stories of some of the places, some of the companies, the new companies that are started by young entrepreneurs in Africa, and how they are making waves around the world. So thank you very much. From next week, we'll talk about the e-commerce revolution in full. We will talk about the rising internet access, the convenience, the payment innovations, and the rise of the logistics and delivery improvements. And then we go into our case studies, like we'll talk about the Jumia story. With this, I've come to the end of our introductory episode for the series African Entrepreneurship and the African Youth. So for your feedbacks, your questions, and your comments, contributions, and suggestions, please send us a mail at contact@theamorgate.org. You can also reach out to us on our WhatsApp number +234 810 999 6666. That's +234 810 999 6666. We have a lot of episodes that have been recorded. You want to go back to some of the episodes you've missed. You can want to go back to our series on entrepreneurship and the Nigerian youth, to give you a background, to give you an understanding, and while you want to juxtapose that with the new series entrepreneurship and the African youth. So to listen to previous episodes, you can check our show reel on MixLR-Amogate. MixLR-Amogate. And then I want you to come to our social media handles, join us on our social media and on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, all at the Amogate. This program, said earlier, airs every Thursday, 5 p.m. West African time and 11 a.m. Eastern time. Until I see you next time during the next episode, my name is Adiola Badebo. Thank you.